A few months ago, there was an influx of street interviews asking random people how attractive they think they are on a scale 1 to 10. Thank God it's out of my feed now. Some women who were happy enough in that day were really confident to say 10, and if the interviewer asked them okay but on an objective scale, like completely honest, they still told they are a 10 or even 12 if they were in the mood. A normal person would have their smile brought to their face, being happy for someone else's happiness. But not today, not in the comments section of those videos. People rushed to say these supposed 10s would be pretty, but I give them 6 for their attitude, or why does the girl who rated herself lower look better than the girl who rated herself higher? And trust me, in those videos I've seen a variety of gorgeous girls. Not a single one deserved a rating lower than 8, or even 9, or fuck it, if they are confident, they are a 10. Today I want to discuss on why this objective scale 1 to 10 is a complete total bullshit and why you aren't narcissistic if you rate yourself a 10. The whole argument can obviously boil down to it's subjective, but I'm going to expand on why is that subjective. First of all, the whole perception of what this scale means to someone is subjective. There is an argument to make that these girls are delusional because there is no such thing as a 10 in real world, because 10 is perfection and it's unachievable by no real person. And there is a tiny bit of truth in that because no one is really perfect, but please define perfection to me when it comes to human beings. Is it something so beautiful that surpasses humanity, like a fictional character, an elf or any fantasy creature, or a painting, because that's how some people view perfection and beauty through their lens? Is it something within the human realm, having a set of characteristics and maxing them out by attractiveness meter and adding them up together, creating a model of perfect human in our mind, then comparing every single person on Earth to the same standard and subtracting points for every little thing they don't have in common with this mental image of ours? It seems like a good measure, until you come to the realization that every person might have a different mental image of said perfect person. You can ask 10 different artists to draw a perfect human being, not even 10, 5 or even 3 would be enough to see that none of them are the same. They might have similarities because the majority of people might deem the current local beauty standard as their ideal, but as long as one person disagrees, there is no such thing as an objective scale. It's impossible to make. It starts with gender preferences. Straight women will rate women differently than straight men. The same goes for queer people. Different demographics are looking at human beauty differently. There is no one single beauty standard for all of humanity. For example, the hottest woman in the world would have big breast or small breast, a big booty or a small booty. The global standard, like in USA or Europe, we are right now into a bit more pear-shaped body with extra thin waist and big dumpy and thick thighs, where I've noticed that boobs became a secondary concern. But we cannot just put on a slim thick woman and call her the perfect human, because East Asians will disagree. In countries like South Korea or China, a very slender body is much more preferred. The more skinny and delicate you are, the better. The Instagram slim thick baddie is definitely like 10 kilograms or more too heavy for the standards of people in those East Asian countries. The same thing goes for men, and especially with men, choosing the perfect male body is even more impossible. You could just point at a winner of bodybuilding contest and say, oh, that's the one. But that's far from truth. As much as I hold huge respect for people who are able to achieve that kind of physique, I find people with less muscles more attractive. Some people prefer absolutely malnourished skinny men, some people prefer absolutely jacked, muscular men, and some people are really into dad bods, to the point of drooling over them. We have the capacity to judge if someone is generally ugly or generally pretty. But anything other than that is to argue about. Putting undefined standard on a scale of real numbers is just exactly like trying to define infinity as a real number. Perfection is like infinity. No matter how gorgeous you are, there is always something to add. The smallest blemish is taking the value away. We can only compare our peak performance with how we've been doing our whole life, or with other humans. We never will know how true perfection is like. Exactly like how we cannot visualize the number of digits in infinity, even if the whole humans on Earth decided to spend their whole lives writing down those digits, we wouldn't be even 1% close to what it actually is. You can always add one more. The question arises, if perfection is 10, what would be the number that defines the most beautiful person on planet Earth? Would it be 9? Or would it be 1? Even though we want to choose 9, we surely know with the way infinity works, and in this case our undefined irrational perfection, the second answer would be more correct. But even that doesn't matter, because we cannot unanimously agree on who the fuck is the hottest person on Earth. This is why I think this scale should be abolished, and I cannot treat seriously a person who genuinely thinks this is any legitimate metric of beauty. You can say someone is a 10 as a compliment, but other than that, the black pill Incels trying to drain money out of you just to give you objective rating, spoiler alert, he is just gonna call you ugly for 30 minutes so you can spend more money on his self-improvement advice, which is going to mostly be bullshit too. Second of all, as we established that the scale itself doesn't make sense, we should also establish the nature of those interviews and how it defeats its purpose. Objective rating is meant just to put you on a scale of beauty compared to others. It's especially pointless since the intention behind asking those questions isn't to feed someone's curiosity about the topic in a healthy manner and spread positivity or anything productive at all. It's always targeted at the audience of Incels who hate women and need reasons for it. They set up women who think they are 10, and then they get clios of men who rate themselves lower on a scale, trying to paint women as delusional and self-obsessed, in comparison to men who are sensible and humble, completely disregarding the gender dynamics and pretending to be unaware that women are from childhood to care way more about their beauty. It simply matters more to them. Telling a woman she is a 6 would hurt her way more than telling a man he is a 6. It's because women have to be gorgeous all the time, they have to be clean-shaved, have their vagina smell like flowers, always look pretty but not too pretty so they don't get slut-shamed, use tons of more products to maintain their youth and beauty. Meanwhile, we all know that men are accepted into society when they wake up in the morning 10 minutes before work, comb their hair with their fingers, put on a random coat they bought 10 years ago and completely mismatched trousers, and they are good to go. Putting a woman lower on an objective scale is way more damaging to her because it feels like completely disregarding the efforts she made to present well in this society. The black pill mathematics scale of attractiveness that puts top 50% women in 5 out of 10 and top 1% women in 9 out of 10 seems to have a major flaw that some Incels might seem to acknowledge. An average woman is way prettier than an average man when we look solely at population count. There is that one chart which describes each tier of attractiveness, and they call men 4/10 and below doomed, and only women on 1/10 scale doomed, saying that unless you are absolutely hideous as a woman, you still have a chance of getting a man. And I disagree with that. Or maybe not really. You have to be hideous for a straight man to be unfuckable to him, but it is so easy to achieve. All you have to do is gain a couple of pounds of weight, get acne, or get any body modification like a Hari cut, hair dye, a tattoo, or a piercing. As soon as you are not the man's vision of a pretty doll, and I'm not talking about getting all of those at the same time, just take this one characteristic, and you are going to be instantly ugly to someone, with a lot of men trying to change your appearance, trying to tell you that you would look more hot to them if you did this and that, like if anyone asked. I know because I have this several-year-old cycle of cutting my hair. First I cut it very short, like a bob or something, and then I see an immediate, but like as fast as Lightning McQueen and even faster, switch in behaviors of men around me. Then I grow it out, and I'm suddenly their pretty dream doll that they expect of me. But that's like exactly the point. This scale is not even showing your attractiveness. If one 5 is not equal to another 5 in actual attractiveness, it doesn't really say anything. If we actually defined our scale with how much attractiveness score we have, irrelevant to the population percentage, most women would be put at 7 or 8, a bit smaller percentage on 9 and 10, and only a tiny percentage of women put in 5 or below. And let me simplify what I just said. If we have a room of 10 women as hot as Megan Fox, and I don't care if you find her attractive or not, I just wanted to give an example of a celebrity that we know is deemed hot. Technically, they are all an average woman by statistics, they are all the same. So by population scale of top percentage woman, they are all top 100%, so we should give them a 5 for being average or a 0 because they aren't prettier than anyone in the room because each one of them is equally pretty. But in reality, they all are literally Megan Fox level of hotness, and Megan is at least an 8 on a bad day to a mentally sane person. So they should get an 8 for being hot, not a 5 for being average. It's like grading on a math test. If most of the class gets 90% on a test, that doesn't mean the person with 90% on a test is average studying person, it means the average student is a good learning student. There is a difference between average, as a mathematic term, and average as a performance describing term, like a thing that lies between good and bad. This is why an average woman is pretty, not average, because women are literally so pretty, like you walk up to the street and literally 90% of women in your age range and even some older ones are just drop-dead gorgeous, but that might be just my bisexuality. Third of all, this scale is harmful. The reason why is everything I've said before. Even if you ask someone to objectively rate themselves, this is their own perception of objective beauty standards. Everyone perceives the scale differently, starting from their view of perfection up to the grading system itself, just as how I expressed my disagreement with Black Pill community's way of putting people on the scale. No matter how you are trying to get rid of your own bias, it's impossible. The way you rate yourself will always be a reflection of your self-esteem in one way or another. And it's especially frustrating how people are quick to hate on a woman for calling herself a 10 and suggesting that she should lower her rating for being not true. But on what basis? This whole system doesn't work, then why there is a reason to try to rationalize that? Why your own opinion of a woman's rating should be more valuable than her own opinion on herself? Why should she feel down on her appearance just because a random mouth breather, grass allergic, unknowing of sunlight, broken spine basement dweller from the internet thought of her otherwise? Why should she pretend to be humble just to seek male validation? You're a person she doesn't even know and will probably never interact with unless she opens comments of the video and engages with it for 10 seconds. She gets to live in her body for all her life. She's the only person she is waking up with every day, having every single meal with, sharing every smile and every tear with, spending each day with, from her birth to her death. Trust me, as a person with trashy self-esteem for all of my life, trying to regain my confidence from scratch, it's significantly better to be hated by all and absolutely loved by yourself, than loved by all and absolutely despised by yourself. You need maybe a small, really tiny percentage of people who truly love you and you love them, people who are your support system, for example, friends, family, and/or lovers. The way you call them in your own words doesn't really matter. And the thing that matters even less, or should be completely irrelevant, is some bullshit, undefinable, wannabe objective rating of some manosphere mass. Produced and probably staged street interviews. The women who are calling themselves 10 aren't even treating that seriously. But even if they were, it's scary how many people are bothered by their confidence. If you want someone to feel worse than they feel about themselves, just so you like them more, is really suspicious to me. It sounds like manipulation. You want those women to be unaware of their beauty, because then she might think she doesn't deserve a man more attractive than you, so you have less chance of pulling her. The whole incel community, except MGTOW, is either about hating women or hating women while simultaneously trying to have sex with the prettiest girl they can, so they can prove their worth. And the thing they are afraid the most is women doing exactly the same to them. No matter how you frame it, this is a way to worsen the self-perception of already insecure, depressed, and anxious society. We are already attacked by corporations trying to create some unattainable standards of human performance just to take some cash money out of us. We don't need even more misery in this society. No one is directly harming you by calling themselves a 10, and if that bothers you, you should really work on your jealousy issues or your own insecurities and ask yourself firstly, why does it affect you? For the closing statement, I want to clarify that I'm aware of the body neutrality argument of okay, but why women have to feel beautiful though, but here I am, agreeing with that. Women have every right to think my appearance is whatever, and I'm okay with that, because I'm a good person. Men do too. The whole thing is about self-acceptance. Different people come to that stage through different means. You have the right to chase beauty. You have the right to completely not give a single shit about it. The only thing that I'm afraid of in body neutrality argument is that some people might subconsciously think that if we have to accept the ugly in us, that we can't strive towards the beauty of us. And I'm getting a bit of I'm not like the other girls, I'm actually ugly feeling from this argument. All I want is for people to exercise their bodily autonomy to the fullest. Your flesh and the way you clothe it shouldn't be your cage. It should be a tool to express your soul as much as you can, within your own personal space. Being neutral about yourself is a good thing. I just think that self-love is better than that. You can love yourself as much as you want. You can even kiss the mirror every day. As long as you aren't punching people on the street or blackmailing homeless people into giving the last bite of food they stole off a trash can, you are good to go. In other words, you can have your ego on absolute top, as long as you aren't an entitled sadistic backstabbing trash bag, is what I want to say. Stay confident. A society full of people who know their worth and prioritize themselves, and one manipulative piece of demon is way happier than an insecure society with one manipulative cunt who knows how to tickle their gears and take benefits from people who don't know how to ask for better, or feel like they aren't worth it. Currently, we are in the second society, and we need to make a change. Treat yourself better. Do something for yourself. I believe in you.